Two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Skor North and SCORNorth.com.
Little scoop session here today on the podcast with our guy Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department.
Coffee machine fixed.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, boy. It's always a crisis when that happens. See if I can do this without crashing the plane production-wise. Declan's in Maui, enjoying himself. Although, he got a little... There's some white-knuckle driving in Maui where you're going up around corners, no guardrails, and he texted us afterwards last night. He's like, okay, I don't know if I would drive some of those routes again. But he's having a good time. Doogs, Sam Darnold has taken the NFL media world by storm here. We've all been talking about this for 9 months, but it's interesting just to see all of these reports now and all the talking head shows just catching on to what the Vikings have been doing here the last 3 months. So let's have a Sam Darnold discussion here. Short term, can they win the Super Bowl is the only question that really matters. And then there's the long term of whether they do or don't win the Super Bowl. What is his market value? What's the percentage chance he's still the Vikings quarterback? And it seems like that conversation just gets more and more high leverage every single week that he plays his ass off like he did against the Falcons.
Well, first off, Declan would have shown me something if he texted you guys as he was driving, navigating those twists and turns in Maui. So maybe that's something he can attack today or tomorrow. Like, don't text after the fact. During the drive. How about like FaceTime? Show us those picturesque views. Okay, on Sam Darnold. Short term. Phil, why can't they win the Super Bowl?
They can.
We are seeing some drama in Philadelphia right now. Detroit has all these guys on injured reserve. Now, Detroit is going to get back some of these guys, even, in fact, before Week 18. But why can't they? Yes, I get it. Detroit is the clear-cut number one team in the NFC. But, like, are you curling up in the fetal position if it's Vikings, Lions, late January at Ford Field,
no,
NFC Championship game? I don't think you are. Then who's coming out of the AFC? Who do you feel positive about in the AFC? Is it
well,
Buffalo?
you'd be in a close game against Kansas City, so you know that, right?
Yeah, and it would probably go Kansas City's way inevitably. But I'm just saying, like, you have a fighter's chance. I'm just saying, in this moment,
yes,
why can't we talk about them being able to make a deep run in January into February, playing in New Orleans in the Super Bowl? Long term, here's all I know. We've discussed this. There haven't been any sort of contract extension talks. Not to say that maybe those don't take place at some point. But like the whole idea is to have enough flexibility in March. They will need multiple corners. Now that will include interest in re-signing Byron Murphy Jr. They still want a pass rush from the interior of the defensive line. Are we sure the offensive line is solved? I'm not. I mean, minimum need to solve one of the guard spots. They have enough holes. Aaron Jones is a free agent. Cam Bynum is a free agent. Not sure this front office is willing to invest heavy money in the safety position, but they have so many guys. And if you invest, what are we talking on a Sam Darnold long-term deal? So Baker Mayfield, 3 years, $100 million? Somewhere in that ballpark, likely north of that with the cap going up, up, up. So like 3-110, 3-115, somewhere in that vicinity.
I think it's like 3-130. I think it's over $40 million.
Maybe it's closer to 130. Okay.
And the question is guarantees. So like I believe Baker is 3 years, $100 million. I think 50 guaranteed. Like that's the thing is these contracts are nothing, but the guarantees are everything. So when we talk about Sam, it's what is he going to be guaranteed? Is it going to be,
correct.
Is he going to try to get 65 instead of 50? Like that's where it gets. But can we backtrack just a little bit here? Because the Viking success is awesome. But the one thing it started now, so we bitched and moaned about the fact that they were ignored on the national stage up until really now. But here's the problem with when they're not ignored. The national people get involved and they completely screw everything up. Okay, first of all, Kirk Cousins comes back with the Falcons to play the Vikings. ESPN's countdown show wants to do something on that and like advance the story. So they say, okay, let's do this. Let's talk about the Darnold contract because the same thing can happen. He can walk. Just to be very, very clear, and Dukes can back me up 100%. If Adam Schefter had come out and said on Sunday, okay, here's the deal. The Vikings and Darnold's representatives are in talks on an extension, that would have been mind-blowing. The majority of contracts, you don't, like once the season starts, you don't exactly like try to hammer out contracts. A lot of athletes say, I don't want you to. But second of all, Sam Darnold's in the midst of a renaissance, forget his career, of his life. And he's now going to talk to one team about a contract. So I feel like part of the problem is we're not our show. The media here and the fans here are going to get hung up on what's being said by the Schefters when it's basically a dog and pony show by them to create content that is not really a thing. So this is not a thing. Like the Darnold thing is not a thing. It doesn't. There are no negotiations going on, nor should there be. So let's not be like, oh my God, they're not talking contract. This means he's gone. It means nothing. They let the season play out.
It's only a thing starting in February.
Correct.
Right, like late February into early. It'll be a major thing for a month. Super Bowl middle of February, and then NFL free agency 1 month after the Super Bowl. For that month, it'll be crazy speculation. What are they going to do? How much? What's the market? All those things. Totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Radio Row, think about that week leading into the Super Bowl. So, yes. Which means, Phil and Judd, there's still a lot more of the story to be told. What if, okay, I'm saying the Vikings can make a deep run in January, but it's also entirely possible. We've seen some leakage with the run defense. Like, are we sure if the first round playoff matchup is Vikings at Tampa or Vikings at Seattle? Like, are we positive they're winning that game? I feel okay about their chances, but what if they lose in the first round? What if Sam Darnold goes back to 6-7 weeks ago, making a bunch of head-scratching plays? To his credit, outside of maybe one or two throws in the Arizona game, if you go back to the Tennessee game, the last 4 games, very, very minimal on the head-scratching decisions. In fact, he's been brilliant. I get it. He at least needs to be in the MVP conversation. I think it's Josh Allen's award or Saquon Barkley's award. But if we're making a list of 5 or 6 candidates, Sam Darnold has earned the right to be on that list. But let's see how the rest of the season plays out. Plus, let's not undersell, we've talked about this, but let's hammer it home again, the brilliance of one Kevin O'Connell. And why can't Kevin recreate success, maybe not quite this success, but enough success with J.J. McCarthy, a legit top 10 pick, next season?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be. Judd nailed it. It was fodder for a Sunday. It's kind of a hollow report from Schefter.
Well, and I mean, like the ESPN talking heads, we know this. Like they're talking about everything, and so like they're told, come up with hard opinions, hammer home something large, big, because they're not spending an hour on the Vikings. They're bouncing around so much. So in that moment, it's like, okay, Rex Ryan or you name the analyst, okay, the Vikings can't let Sam Darnold go. How could they? When I'm telling you, like, we need to see the next handful of weeks play out.
Yeah.
Let me throw in, let's say he keeps playing at a really, really high level and we don't get a clunker. Like the last clunker winds up being Jacksonville, basically. And I'm not saying he doesn't throw another interception or two, but that you feel like, holy cow, man, this dude, he became a top 5 MVP candidate. I mean, hell, he's like 4th in passer rating right now, all these key categories. Let's say you get to the end of the year. Hell, let's say you get to the NFC Championship game and you just lose a shootout to the Lions, just an epic shootout, and they beat you and they run the ball a little bit. Could you make a case? Could you make a case to say, okay, while McCarthy was the plan all along, and McCarthy we have full faith in, it's unlikely that him stepping in first year in 2025 that we're going to get back this far. Like, we're probably going to have to just like settle in for a year and then open up a long-term window. Let's forget about that. Let's lock in Sam. Big signing bonus. You could even do void years and shove a lot of the accounting into like 2027, 28. so that you open up a 2025-26 window with Sam Darnold and you still maintain some ability to sign free agents and your first-round pick for 2025-26. And then you probably have to confront trading J.J. McCarthy. Like, could I, if he keeps playing like this, is that plausible?
Judd, I mean, I'll go short, then I can piggyback off you, Judd. But, like, you at least would have to entertain. If Phil's scenario plays out, if he keeps playing brilliantly, if they lose 42-35 in the NFC Championship game in a shootout, he throws for 300-plus yards, 4 touchdowns, making brilliant throw after brilliant throw. And that was the case in the second round of the playoffs, in the opening round of the playoffs, Week 18 in Detroit, Week 17 here against the Packers, Week 16 in Seattle, Monday night against the Bears. I don't know, Judd, how you wouldn't then, in that moment, at least entertain the idea. Go back and forth with his representation at Creative Arts Agency just to gauge what the price point could potentially be. You have the franchise tag if you really wanted to. I think you at least need to entertain the possibility. I'm not saying you need to do it. I'm just saying it has to at least come up in conversation.
Personally, right now, I don't think there's any chance that they sign him to a multi-year extension. Could they use the franchise tag of some sort? Yes, absolutely. But here,
I'm with you there. I don't foresee a multi-year,
like a 3-year contract.
I'm just saying, though, it would have to at least come up in conversation if you play out Phil's scenario.
Because the immediate potential cap hit is big, but it's a 1-year thing, and they can absorb that if they want. But here's the thing we're not discussing, and we don't know, but it's, to me, in the back of my mind, it becomes a key question. What does Kevin O'Connell think? Because, one, he identified McCarthy after supposedly turning down, potential draft picks, calling himself the quarterback killer in TCO because executives, Kwesi came to him with quarterback options previously from the draft. And he's like, no. So this time he says yes. So he identified this kid. And also, what we don't know is what it's taken to get Darnold here. He did have 5 picks thrown in 2 games, which, how did that impact O'Connell? What did it take to get Sam back? Does Sam have the mental strength that Kevin perceives O'Connell to have? Like, there's just
McCarthy?
I'm sorry. Does O'Connell have, does McCarthy have that? So, but there's just so many things here that to me, we don't know. And O'Connell, it's pretty clear to us, I think, Kevin O'Connell is going to have the hammer here. So, like, if he says, Sam Darnold, I have resurrected him and he is my guy, then I think that changes the entire discussion. But every season has ups and downs, and we've experienced the Darnold downs. So is Kevin O'Connell fully bought in necessarily to the fact that this is now his guy and not J.J. McCarthy?
Does Kevin have the hammer? Because there was that athletic report from Diana Rossini last week that essentially, it didn't paint like a schism, but it essentially said Kevin really wanted to continue with Kirk and believed that Kirk could come back from the Achilles. And it was Kwesi with the hammer that said, no, because we're not going to give him the contract that the market, the Falcons, dictate that he is going to get. And so really it's, if the market dictates that Sam is going to get, now franchise tag puts a wrench into it, I guess, but if the market dictates it's $45 million a year, that's not Kevin's decision anymore. That's Kwesi's decision.
Yeah, but I will say this, from a starting point of the evaluation of the actual quarterback, I think that's Kevin. If it gets to be a financial thing, but just to be very clear here, I don't see Kevin turning on JJ. I think there's a far better chance he says, this is my plan. And I think if it comes down to just pure talent evaluation, Kevin gets the final say. If it jumps the shark to a financial one, then yes, I think people will step in. But I don't think Kevin in this case is going to say that we should just pay Sam. I think he's going to say there's a reason why I believed that McCarthy was my guy. And at the end of the day, Dukes, I think it's safe to say this. Kevin is 2 things, at least privately, in my opinion. Kevin O'Connell is bullish on guys, and if he is, you're his guy, and he's stubborn. And he is very stubborn when it comes to his perception of the quarterback position. So I do think he has the final say based on talent evaluation, but Phil is right. If this gets to be a contractual thing, that takes it way more upstairs probably.
But not stubborn enough to create a schism. We've discussed this. Okay, we knew. I don't think there was any new information gleaned from the weekend. Maybe for some people that don't listen to us, but we knew all along Kevin had some level of interest in retaining Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. That's where we've discussed the price point. My understanding is Kevin knew, okay, within the confines of how we manage the cap, we can only do so much. So sure, I'd love to have Kirk back, but we're not going to go all in on Kirk. My understanding is Kevin was okay with that. I do think, though, being bullish on McCarthy, certainly bullish on Drake May as well, it wasn't just McCarthy or bust, but that he wants to see this thing play out. I think in the end, you shake Sam's hand, you thank him, he'll be celebrated for a really long time, especially if they win at least one playoff game, and you congratulate him on the monster contract he will sign in Vegas with the Giants. You name the franchise. You see Sam move on. Kevin then gets to work with his first-round quarterback.
Yeah. Okay, more from the scoop bag. We'll clean up any other Viking stuff. I know Doogie has a couple Twins nuggets here, but it's holiday season, and maybe you're like me and you're just not that great always at coming up with the best gift ideas. Well, this could be it for you, all right? Listeners, viewers, Woodhouse Spas. So this could be for you, too. I love getting massages. I'll walk in there and, work out the tension from all these stressful takes that we're delivering every day. But whether it's you or someone that you love, maybe your wife, your mom, somebody in your family, Woodhouse Spas is locally owned, Maple Grove, Woodbury, Rosedale Center, and a perfect place to celebrate anniversaries, birthdays, weddings, holidays. Gift cards are available. This could be a great stocking stuffer or a gift. We had someone hit us up a couple days ago. A listener said, hey, thanks for the recommendation. I just got my wife a $500 gift card to Woodhouse Spas. Go have at it, honey. WoodhouseSpas.com or go into one of the three locations, Maple Grove, Woodbury, Rosedale Center, WoodhouseSpas.com. Also, now through the end of the week here, the holiday auction at ScoreNorth.com, where you can bid on a number of awesome packages and experiences. Unlimited golf package at Deer Run, a Canadian fishing package for 4 at Fletcher Lake Lodge, a free golf lesson, and 10-hour peak punch pass from Swing Lab, and a bunch of other, also stoked cookout packages, including barbecue pellets, fire starters, and a barbecue caddy. You can find all sorts of great items as part of the Skor North holiday auction. ScoreNorth.com, keyword auction. ScoreNorth.com, keyword auction. Okay, Dukes, any other Vikings things? Some injury stuff here. I mean, Ivan Pace out, Gilmore. The defense was leaky in the run game. Otherwise, happy to move into the rest of your scoop bag.
Yeah, I mean, certainly miss Ivan Pace Jr. When you think about Arizona's success running the ball, Atlanta's success running the ball, Ivan will be back. This is not a season-ending injury. We think about Stephon Gilmore, Pat Jones, okay. Both guys got some work in, if you want to call it that, on Monday. To be determined. My sense here early in the week, now it helps you get the extra, about 30 hours? Instead of playing at noon on Sunday, you're playing at 7:15 on Monday night.
Yeah.
Feel a little bit better in this moment. Hopefully this doesn't get aggregated, but I'm sure, feel a little bit better about Pat Jones's chance of returning. That's just such a tricky injury, the hamstring, when talking about a 34-year-old cornerback. Certainly, both guys not looking at some sort of lengthy shutdown. So, at some point, they should have all three guys back, especially heading into the postseason. I did enjoy being in the locker room on Sunday late afternoon talking to Gabriel Murphy, just seeing the big smile on his face.
It's a stud.
Making his NFL debut. Dwight McLaughlin also made his NFL debut on Sunday. Had a nice conversation with Jalen Redmond, who flashed again. He told me, hey, I wanted to ensure that my performance against Arizona, that I wasn't a one-week wonder.
Stacking games,
and he certainly
dude.
wasn't. He was good against the Atlanta Falcons. So just fun to be in that locker room. Also had some fun on Friday in the Vikings locker room working on a story for our Monday night pregame show. So Monday night, shameless plug, Channel 5 here in the Twin Cities, ABC, Vikings, Bears. So we are doing a 30-minute pregame show, 6:30 into kickoff. So just talking to guys about KOC, how cool those post-game locker room speeches are, which, hey, I get it. We only get the snippet of when they win. It's not like we're getting the video of those post-game locker room speeches when they lose. But Josh Metellus was funny with me. He's like, hey, the best speeches, he's like, dude, like, I wish you could be here Saturday night, team hotel. He said, those are by far the best KOC speeches. But in talking with Metellus, Murphy, Cam Akers, Dalton Reisner, a few others on Friday, they say that Kevin O'Connell is just so darn good. We knew it, but just confirmed. Just so good at commanding the room.
If you watch the post-victory speeches, he always refers to, off the top, his Saturday speech. Hey, remember when I told you guys last night that we were going to come in and burn this place down? Well, we burnt it down. But the interesting thing is, in the Netflix receiver series over the summer, we got a little snippet of post-game loss to Philadelphia last year with all the fumbles. From outside, they just put a mic outside, and O'Connell is screaming about, and it was pretty good. Like, it was, that showed a side of O'Connell that I don't think a lot of people think exists, which is why guys respect him. Like, he's a cool guy, works real hard, believes in his players, but that thing in Philadelphia showed he will light them up, which you have to do at times.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he can mother F with the best of them, right?
Oh, yeah.
But guys respect it. It comes from a position of love. But yes, he can be as salty as heck Mike Zimmer. Maybe Mike Zimmer was more frontal, but trust me, AOC, he's got some colorful language when he needs to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, Dukes, what else is left in your scoop bag here before we part ways?
All right, well, I mean, it doesn't seem like anything is quite imminent on the Twins front. I do anticipate trades before free agent signings, but they have been kicking the tires on right-handed bats. And when you look at the list of right-handed bats, guys that make logical sense on a one-year deal, guys like Randall Grichuk, Austin Hayes, Adam Duvall, guys like that, Mark Canha, like, they're kicking the tires. Oftentimes, too, it's the agent initiating talks, realizing, okay, Kyle Farmer gone, Manny Margot, the Twins are not bringing him back. The Twins can use a right-handed bat, so, oftentimes it's the agents initiating these talks. Chris Paddock, logical trade candidate. We know that. Christian Vasquez, logical trade candidate. Willie Castro. Like, they're open-minded on a lot of guys. So let's get to the elephant in the room. Carlos Correa. Okay, so one team that has interest, I'm led to believe, is the Boston Red Sox. That you think about the Alex Cora connection, bench coach in Houston with Carlos, was his manager World Baseball Classic, that the Boston Red Sox swing and miss. They were willing to pay Juan Soto enormous money. So keep an eye, I'm led to believe, probably one of a few teams. Now, I don't know if the Red Sox are willing to give up a good prospect or two, if the Yankees are willing to give up a good prospect or two. And right now, like, I take what Derek Falvey has been saying down in Dallas at face value, that they're not going to just give away Carlos Correa. They're not looking right now to just salary dump, that they would want something of decent return. And so I don't sense anything is remotely close, but teams are checking in. That's literally what you do at the winter meetings when everybody is under one roof. You're having face-to-face dialogue. I'm led to believe the Red Sox are a team to keep an eye on if the Twins decide to get, really aggressive on the trading Correa front.
Speaking of that, do the Yankees make sense now that they swung and missed on Soto? I do believe the Yankees are a good fit, and here's why. You move him to third base right now.
So that's it. Yeah.
So the foot problem would actually be lessened, I think, because I mean the guy's a phenomenal shortstop. He gets to everything, but imagine the wear and tear. And now he's got the plantar fasciitis 2 consecutive years. I'm just thinking that for his own good, going to third base right now might actually prolong his career with how this is tracking. So feels like the Yankees might be a good fit. But you're right about like prospects. I don't think you're going to make a killing. If you trade him, I think you might get something back, but you're not going to it's not going to be the Knobloch trade, the Przinsky trade of, oh my God, you got all these guys back. I don't see that being the case here necessarily if you do trade Carlos Correa.
I just think the Yankees, yeah, okay, third base, that they're not moving Anthony Volpe from shortstop.
No.
If Carlos wants to play shortstop, he does have the hammer with the no trade clause. Although, with all this out in the open now,
Yeah.
like, how would he not waive his no trade clause? In fact, you wonder, I don't know this, right? I'm just opining, but I wonder if the Twins have already had a conversation, minimum, with Carlos's representation, but maybe even Carlos himself, that they are going to be open-minded to trade possibilities. But I just think the Red Sox would move Trevor Story to second base if Carlos wants to play shortstop. The Red Sox would move Story to second base before the Yankees would move off Volpe at shortstop.
Agreed with that.
Yeah, well, it's tough. They probably have to regroup after missing out on Juan Soto. So there's just, they're probably in a full scramble mode now there at Twins away.
And, hey, we brought this up a couple weeks ago. We said, hey, it's worth monitoring, especially let's see how the Juan Soto situation plays out. Okay, well, the Yankees and Red Sox miss out. Like, it's worth talking about. Like, to suggest it's 100% right this second that Carlos Correa is the Twins' 2025 opening day shortstop, like, to me, I don't think we can do that.
Yeah.
Now, if I had to bet right this second, I do think Correa is going to be a Twin March of 2025. But I'm just telling you, like, there are teams inquiring, so we can't say, like, there's a 0% chance.
This feels very tumultuous, gentlemen. Like we could talk about the prospects that the Twins have. You know, they do have some nice young talent, but this whole thing with the payroll, I mean, their TV income in 25 is going to be for them next to nothing. It just feels the team is supposedly being shopped, but we don't know if someone's going to want to buy it because baseball's in a really weird financial place.
Although there's interest. I mean, some of these
it just feels tumultuous, though.
Yeah, I mean, the Davis family. There's enough interest.
Well,
I just don't.
I'd buy him at the right price.
Right now, they're getting the price that they're looking for. Like I'm telling you, like I don't think they're selling right this second for anything less than what the Orioles sold for earlier this year, 171. In the end, do I think the Twins are being sold for that? Probably not. But I'm just saying right now, I don't think they're willing to sell for like 1.3 or 1.4.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually, but just not right now.
Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department.
Are you back on the Wolves bandwagon, Phil?
Yeah, even with the loss, bad third quarter the other night, but
Phil wasn't off.
They're much more connected.
I don't think you got off it.
No, there's been things I've been disappointed in.
Yeah.
I
didn't really.
But no, I've been awake till.
Yeah. Christmas, right?
We had a classic Cat moment last night facing a depleted Raptors team on a Monday in December, and he hits not even a game-winning 3. He just hits like a 3 to put them up by 5 in the final 30 seconds, and he ran around the court like they won the Eastern Conference Finals, popping his jersey and trash-talking Raptors fans. This is what movies is made of.
Yep.
Although I'll tell you what.
Straight to video.
When you see Julius Randle play defense, heck, Chris finally put him on the bench for a little bit a couple games ago, but
good.
Like, I don't know. I think there's some Wolves fans, and hey, I was pro the trade in the moment, not necessarily because of Randle, just because I love Dante DiVincenzo, who I think will shoot the ball better as the season goes on. Still love the contract he's on. Do think that Pistons pick ends up being an asset one way or another, either in another trade or for the Wolves, not next June, but June of 26 or June of 27. I think that Pistons first-round pick is relatively valuable. So I'm like, okay, if I can get off the Cat contract, if I can now re-sign Naz Reid next summer, okay, I understand the trade. But I'll tell you what, you run into more and more Wolves followers, they are not happy. They are not happy.
People need to calm down and just be patient. This is not. First of all, Carl's having a great run in New York, and he still puts up great offensive numbers. It is December 10th. Also, this trade was made in part for a 5-year Anthony Edwards arc. You don't want to be hamstrung with a 31-year-old eventually making $61 million in the second apron. Like, this was a long-term sort of arc trade that I still think pays off much better in the short term than people are giving it credit for a month and a half into the season. So awesome that Cat daggered a depleted Raptors team last night. Let's just take a breath and see where this thing's at in 5 or 6 months from now.
Everybody is reactionary, emotional in the moment. I think it's easy to forget Naz Reid is going to enter the free agent market. He is not opting into the third year of his contract. Naz Reid, we get it. Fan favorite. If you want Naz Reid on the 25-26 Wolves, you have to accept that it was time to move off of Karl-Anthony Towns. But, you start wondering more and more as we get closer to the trade deadline, is there a Julius Randle trade out there? I mean, I thought maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe not, but now you start thinking about it. Now, I've seen some wild ideas concocted out there, right?
That
Everybody
Houston
loves
trade.
playing with the trade machine. Why would the Rockets give up Jabari Smith? Come on. No.
I'd take that. That'd be
No.
fantastic.
Well, yeah, if you can get Jabari Smith
and other pieces.
sign me up. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter what the other pieces are, but I'm just saying, why would the Houston Rockets do that?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't understand that one. Now, you got Dell Demps in the Wolves front office. The Wolves inquire. This regime is very much like the Gerson Rosas regime. They inquire on a lot of guys. Like, they had a conversation at some point going back many months on Brandon Ingram, who's hurt right now in New Orleans, and he's a free agent. So I don't know if I see a Brandon Ingram match, but you've got that Dell Demps connection in the Wolves front office. So I'm just saying, they're going to make a lot of calls. They're going to receive a lot of calls. I don't know if there's a great match on a Randle trade, but that's something we can talk about the next 6 weeks.
Yep. Darren Doogie Wolfson, great stuff. We'll do it again for a Thursday scoop session later this week.
Okay, sounds good, boys. Reckless speculation
All right,
Thursday.
dudes.
Can't wait. See ya.
You damn right. All right, guys. Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd. Click that like button and the subscribe button on the Skor North YouTube channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you tomorrow for a Write That Down session.